Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to Legatum Gaming, and today you know what day it is. So it's the vendor reset day, and as always, I'm going to bring you the weekly vendor reset. So what I will do is I will check the safe houses in the open world and in the dark zone, all of the checkpoints, and of course the base of operations. What I will do is I will keep all of the best weapons to a brief for you guys by saving you time. Also, check out the description below, because rather than you guys checking through all of them, I have put the best weapons, gear, and mods in the description below, all in timestamps for ease. Alright guys, so let's get into it. At the advanced weaponry vendor this week, the only really thing I've noticed is the Navy MP5. So it has 22.5% critical hit chance, which is really good. It's running with Unforgiving, Hurried, and Adept. So not the best rolls, however, certainly not the worst. The only thing I would say here, Adept being in the third slot is really, really good. Hurried, not the best talent, however, again, not the worst, and Unforgiving at the top. My advice is to swap out Hurried and putting whatever you want. Again, as I always say, depending on how you play or what you run, the choice is yours. The only thing I would say as a watch out for you guys is with Unforgiving being in the first talent slot, you have to have your stamina at 4,790. So it's mainly for a tankier build or a bit of a hybrid. However, it's a really nice MP5 with really, really nice critical hit chance. So definitely one to check for this week. The rest of the weapons and gear in here is not too great. The only thing I would say, potentially, if you guys are after SR7 Suppressor, it is pretty nice with 17% crit hit damage, 3% chance, and 4.5% range. So if you guys are after a Suppressor, certainly check that out. Okay, at the special equipment vendor, I've had a look and it's actually not that good this week. Just be careful with this. So as I always say, don't go spending your hard-earned credits if you don't really need to, especially here because gear does drop really, really frequently. So whether you're doing PvE or PvP or, you know, last stand or missions or whatever it is, just be careful because, you know, gear does drop a lot, so don't go spending your credits unless it's something which is really god roll to you and specifically to your build. So have a check here, guys. I haven't actually found anything I think is worthwhile even mentioning to you. The only thing I would say here is the G36 has actually a pretty nice skill build base. So 22% enemy armor damage, which is 1% off the max, with Meticulous, Determined, and Focused. My recommendation would be to take out Meticulous and replace it with Skilled. So you're running Skilled, Determined, and Focused. This would be a pretty nice skill build assault rifle. So if you guys do have that, or you have maybe a specific set of gloves which has assault rifle damage, and you're running a skill build, I would certainly recommend this G36. It's a really, really nice weapon to have for a skill build. At the special blueprints vendor this week, they have the first wave blueprint, as well as the military M9, stamina knee pads, stamina mask, heavy magazine, and angled grip. So nothing too great, nothing too important, and nothing too special this week. I mean, even the magazine, it's heavy, so not too great. And the angled grip, the main is stability, so nothing too major to go after this week. However, what I always say is just check the special blueprints vendor yourself, because if I already have the blueprint, it won't show for me, meaning if you're watching the video, you guys won't see it either. So whatever you do, whichever video you watch, just make sure you always check the special blueprints vendor every week just to satisfy yourself that you're not missing anything. Zone gear fender in the base, they have really nice specialized backpack. So it's roll to stamina at 1269, which is pretty much god roll in that statistic, so definitely one to watch out for. It also has skill power as the major and ammo capacity. So a really, really nice specialized backpack for this week. You guys can do whatever you want with this. However, my recommendation would just be to bump up the skill power to the max. However, it's not too far off it. So definitely pick up this week, guys. Then this week in the Safehouse, they have a really nice classic AK-47. So it has 21% enemy armor damage with Ferocious, Deadly, and Adept. Now, as I've always said, Adept being in the third slot is the perfect role for the talent. Deadly as itself is a really nice talent, so critical hit damage is increased by 15%. My recommendation here would be to take out Ferocious in the first slot and putting whatever you want. My advice is either Responsive or Brutal would run pretty nice with these talents, and you have yourself a really nice AK-47. So definitely not one to miss out on this week, guys. Safehouse, they have a Relentless Backpack. So the main role is Electronics at 1250, with major being health and minor being burn. Now, it's something I thought I would add in because it's actually something interesting I actually want to try. So 5% of the damage dealt by skills is returned as healing. So this actually might be quite good with like a Firecrest or something build, and mainly for PvE. However, I thought I would add this in there. If anyone does run a Relentless Backpack, if you could drop a comment, that would be really nice. I'm looking at doing a build for that. However, I thought I would just add it in because it's something quite interesting and it actually has a really good main stat row on it. My advice would be either to maximize the health or to change it to skill power. Burn resistance is okay, and ammo capacity you don't technically need if you're doing PvE because they will drop the ammo for you. So thought I would add that in there, and check it out. If you do run it, do let me know. Alright guys, so we've checked out all of the safe houses in the open world and also had a look at the base of operations and the hub. Now it's time to check out the Darkzone checkpoints. I always start at West 31, making my way all the way up north and then back down to south and finishing at South 01, also known as 5th Avenue Street. Alright, so I've checked out West 31. We're now in West 34. So they have a nice suppressor, which I thought I would show you guys. So 17% headshot damage, 4% critical hit damage, and 5% optimal range. It also has 50% reduced threat as well. Although this is not the greatest of suppressors, it's actually nowhere near the worst. And if you guys are after something just to bump up your headshot damage, I would certainly recommend checking this out. So this is at West 34th Street. Okay, at West 39th Street, they have a pretty nice prototype Firearms mod, which is 251, and it has skill power. So for those guys who are running a hybrid build, and you do want to min-max both of your stats, I certainly recommend checking this out for this week. Alright, at the East 58th Street, they have a Reckless chest piece. Now, it is rolled to skill power at 1160, however, as the majors, it has 5.5% enemy armor damage, 5% health on kill, and 51% ammo capacity. So in general, the major and the minor stats are really good. I would swap out the electronics for firearms, and you guys can max that out to kind of like 1270 or something like that and get it maxed out, and then all in all, you have a really nice Reckless chest piece, or vest, shall I say. So for those guys who do not have a Reckless vest and you guys are after one, I would definitely recommend checking that out for this week. Alright, at the Park Avenue checkpoint, they've got a couple of weapons which are, again, focused on mainly PvE and also a skill or hybrid build. So far, no PvP content as such. However, stay tuned. I'm sure there will be more along the video. So, I will show you the Enhanced ACR. So it has 23% enemy armor damage with Skilled, Self-Preserved, and Fierce. My recommendation would be to take out Self-Preserved and maybe put in something like Competent or Unforgiving. Again, depending on how you play or what you run with or your team, the choice is totally up to you. Now, it's not a bad weapon. However, just be careful that you do meet the criteria for the talents. So, for example, on a lot of these, for example, Skilled, the electronics requirement is 4,790, so very high. So, just be careful on that. And the last one is the custom L86. So I've already shown you an LMG early on in the video. This again is 14% damage to targets out of cover, which is the max, with Fierce, Prepared, and Swift. So again, with first being in the first slot, it doesn't technically have to be a PvE build. However, I don't know many people who run kind of like an LMG for PvP. So my recommendation for this would be to swap out a Swift and put in Adept. Adept or Uncomplicated. So these are one of my favorite talents in the third slots. So definitely one for you guys just to check out this week. If you do need an LMG, this and the previous one I've shown you are very, very nice buys. Okay, East 53rd Street has a really nice prototype electronics mod. So it's 259, which is the main electronics stat, and then the major is 3% skill haste. So for those people who are after getting kind of like increasing their skill haste up, or trying to get to the 50% skill haste cap, this is a really, really nice buy for this week. Definitely check it out. At East 42nd Street, they have Savage Gloves. Now, I'm laughing a little bit because it's literally linking with the previous guns I've shown you. So it's rolled to Firearms at 1230, with LMG damage as the major, enemy armor damage as the second, and health on kill. So not a bad roll. However, again, certainly not the best roll. However, it fits in really well with a PvE build and LMG. My recommendation would be to swap out health on kill and maybe put in critical hit chance or damage to elites. So entirely up to you. Alright guys, at East 34th Street, they have for you this week accomplished knee pads. Now this is primarily for a PvE build. However, it is pretty nice for those people who do want to have their accolades tripled. So the Firearms is 1248. The major being skill power, which is 12,800, and then the minors are increased kill XP, bleed resistance, and disrupt resistance. So not bad knee pads at all. So for those people who do want to run them, I would certainly recommend checking this out. Any changes to be made are of your own accord, and just change it to however or whatever you want, which will help you with your gear. Okay, at 5th Avenue this week, they have a pretty nice sniper rifle. So it's a Model 700 with 155% headshot damage. So although it's not the maxed and it's 16% off the max, it's not so bad at all. So the talents it has on it is Brutal, Accurate, and of course the third talent, which is Unchangeable, which is Elevated. Now my recommendation for this would be to swap out Accurate, and I like Prepared on my sniper rifle, which is like, I think it's 15% more damage if you're more than 30 meters. Again, that's just my personal preference. However, pretty nice sniper rifle, even though most people are running kind of like M44s, or classic M44 carbines or whatever they are. However, a pretty nice sniper rifle. For those people who cannot get the M44, I would recommend checking out the Model 700. Now, just to add in, they also have a really nice prototype stamina mod, which is 265 for the stamina, which also runs a skill haste as the major. So a couple of nice pieces of both a weapon and gear to choose from on the 5th Avenue this week. Okay, at the DZ2 Safehouse, they have two pieces of gear which I thought you guys should know about. So they have a Tenacious mask. Now, although this is not the best roll, certainly if you guys are after it, I would recommend checking this out. So it's rolled to stamina, which is 1116, with critical hit chance and damage to elites. Now, although it has critical hit chance, I would keep this in there. Damage to elites I would keep in, and then I would change the main stat, which is stamina, and either spec it into Firearms or its skill power. However, my recommendation is put it into Firearms. So if you guys are after a Tenacious mask and you haven't got one yet, certainly check it out for this week and roll out the stamina and put in Firearms. Now the second one is a specialized backpack, which is actually a really nice roll. So it's rolled to Firearms at 1153, which although that stat is poor, my recommendation would be to swap that out and either increase it to the max or spec it into electronics. The major is skill power, and it is only like 200 off the max, 200 or 300 off. So the major stat on that skill power, the roll is really, really good on it. The only thing which isn't so great is the bleed resistance. However, not the end of the world. And if you guys are after a specialized backpack, certainly pick this up for this week and either increase the Firearms, depending on which way your build is, or change it to skill power. So definitely one to check out this week. Do not miss this. Alright, at the DZ5 Safehouse, I know a lot of people are after VX1 scopes, so I definitely dropped that in there for this week. So it's got an 18% headshot damage with 4% critical hit damage and 2% accuracy. Accuracy being the stat you didn't want on there. However, I thought I would just drop it in because I know quite a lot of people are after the VX1 scopes, and the headshot damage stat on there is really, really nice. So if you are after one, head over to the DZ5 Safehouse and check it out. In Safehouse, they have a couple pieces of gear. Again, I thought I would let you guys know about. So the defensive mask is a pretty nice mask to get. Obviously, the idea of this is to be a little tankier for the team, as well as hitting a little bit of core damage. So the good thing about this is the major is already rolled to stamina, and the roll is actually really, really good. So 1250. And the major being 9,939 skill power with blind and deaf resistance. Depending if you did want to make like a hybrid defense mask, defense build, I would recommend swapping out the skill power and putting in health, just to give yourself a little tankier build for your team. So for those people who are after a defensive mask, certainly check it out at the DZ9 Safehouse. The second one being the Alphabridge chest. So although the main stat of stamina kind of sucks at 1115, the major is health on kill at 5%, 5% enemy armor damage, and then 46% ammo capacity. So even though those stats aren't maxed, you could make it actually a pretty decent Alphabridge chest. My recommendation would be to swap out the stamina and put it as a max firearms. If you guys did see my two-shot shotgun build, so check it out. I am running 4-piece Alphabridge. Now, although I'm not running the Alphabridge chest and I'm running Reckless, for those people who did want to change it up a little bit, this Alphabridge chest is really nice to use. Or alternatively, can be really nice once you roll out the stats you want. Alright guys, we finally have it at DZ8 Safehouse. So we're after quite a few pieces of PvP gear, and we have it. So let me talk you through them. So first off, we have the DeadEye chestplate, which although there's rumors in 1.7 of the DeadEye being nerfed, and it's attempted to be nerfed in 1.6.1, it's attempted to be nerfed in 1.6, it hasn't actually happened yet. So check this out. This is a really, really nice chestplate to have. Enemy armor damage is the major, 9% enemy damage resilience, and increased kill XP. My recommendation would be swap out the stamina and put it into Firearms, and then you can have an almost maxed firearm chestplate with enemy armor damage in that. So that will be a really, really nice build to have. Now the rest of these, I thought I would just show you the Lone Star holster. Now I know not many people run it, however the stats on it are really good. So 1251 firearms, 1241 stamina, and then 1153 electronics. Now electronics is clearly the worst stat, however health being the major is a really nice stat to have. So you can either change out the health for maybe critical hit chance, improve the health, or improve the electronics stat. Now it's interesting reading the set bonus. I don't know if anyone's actually tried like a Lone Star shotgun build. That will be really interesting because the third talent is shotgun damage. So if anyone does run that, or anyone is interested in trying that, certainly do let me know and drop a comment. I think that's something I will actually try next. That's actually really interesting. So stay tuned, guys. Alright, now still remaining in DZ8 Safehouse, they have two pieces of gear I have to show you. So they have a rapid vest. Now the firearms is 1243. The major attributes is health and skill haste. Now skill haste being the max, which is 9%, and health being 15,171. Minor being increased kill XP. Now rapid is a really, really nice vest to have. Decrease cooldowns for healing skills by 15%. So a lot of people use various different vests. However, rapid is really, really good for a skill build. So my recommendation is to swap out the firearms and max it out on the electronics, and you have a pretty much god roll rapid vest. So definitely not want to miss this week, guys. Also, they have Savage Gloves. Now, this is primarily aimed at players who do run with an SMG. However, considering most of the players do run with SMGs, if they're not running assault rifles, this would be a viable option for most of you guys. So they have electronics as the main stat. However, easily change that out to firearms, and then you can have the max firearms with SMG damage, which is pretty much god roll, critical hit damage, and 7% enemy armor damage. So the stats on this are really, really good. So definitely check out DZ8 Safehouse this week, guys. Okay, and we're at DZ9 Safehouse, so this does conclude the last part of the vendor reset. And this week I want to show you the Predator's Mark vest. Now, it is a really nice vest, and considering the 4th set talent on Predator's Mark has been fixed, which is the shrapnel, in terms of what people are using with it, it is a really viable option to use again in the division. So a lot of people are using it, so that's why I thought I would show you the vest. Now the main stat is stamina, which is 1,198, with a 6% enemy armor damage as the major, a 16,218 health, again as the major, and then the minor is a 28% increased kill XP. Now I would swap out the stamina and put in firearms. That way you have a fully maxed, or as much as you can get it up to that, fully maxed firearms stat with 6% enemy armor damage, a pretty much maxed out health, which is a really, really nice roll, and then of course increased kill XP. So definitely for those people who are running Predator's Mark and did want to make their vest a little better, if you are running a Predator's Mark vest, then definitely check this out. For those that are after a vest, I hope this helped you. Now, as I said earlier, this does conclude the video. So I do apologize that this week's content has not been as great as you all would have hoped. Again, as myself, I hoped it would have been better. However, do not shoot the messenger. Now, hopefully next week's vendor reset will be a lot better. If this video did help you, if it did save you guys a lot of time, please do let me know. A lot of work does go into these videos, so a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. However, if you did like the content, then please consider a subscribe. I do stream on a regular basis, post build videos, and of course do the vendor reset every week. Alright guys, thank you very much and have a great day.